Let's stay on the emotional wave of investing, Tommy. We talked about this. Yeah, I'm sure you remember the episode we did. It was the 10 investing mistakes, right?
Yep.
Tommy, you said something during that time, and you said you can't control the wave, but what can you do?
You can learn to surf.
You can learn to surf. So I love that.
We put that in kind of the context of when mistakes are made.
Right.
So you never know exactly where you're at, but somewhere along the line, the market's doing well, you're optimistic, you're excited. At that point, you kind of get to the
point of maximum risk.
The maximum risk. The
wheels
euphoria,
come off
the euphoria element. People get into that chase mode, or they feel like they're missing out on something.
Right.
You make a mistake at the top.
Right.
And conversely, market turns over. First you deny, and then you get a little anxious and scared, and
fear kicks in.
Fear kicks in.
Wheels come off the wagon.
And then and then that second mistake is made is buy low, sell high.
People do the opposite.
The emotional element has people doing the opposite. You sell at the bottom, and then are reluctant to get back in. They're always worried about the next shoe to drop. That's why it's so important to stay committed to the plan.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, because we just talked about the sequence of returns. We also talked about the withdrawal rates as well too. In terms of what decisions you make over the last 1, 2, 3 years. Again, I just can't. If you want to do it yourself, good for you. I mean, as long as you can take the emotional attachment to money out of it, because if you can be a really good investor. You really can be. Now, if you can't do that, that's where an advisor comes in. But Tommy, let's talk about the importance of where an advisor can provide value, in terms of what they can do for their clients. And so this was a very interesting segment that you brought in here. Vanguard's Advisor Alpha Strategy, which I thought was interesting in terms of how an advisor can provide value to their clients.
Yeah, and this is something that's pretty easily, it's a good size article. You can find it, Google Vanguard Advisors Alpha. But it puts out the different ways that advisors can add value to that client relationship. Those different things from, a suitable asset allocation. We talked about risk tolerance, risk profile, those things.
Tommy, I like this one. Behavioral coaching.
And that one, it talks about a number of things, that behavioral coaching piece. And what they did...
Spending strategy.
Spending strategy, if you're in RMDs first and then touching different assets later, but making sure you're accessing that IRA traditional asset first. But the behavioral coaching piece I thought was pretty interesting. And what it did, there was a study in there, and it compared the returns that investors received across a whole bunch of different mutual funds and ETFs compared to what the fund stated as their performance.
What a great chart.
So they compared what they called the internal rate of return, that's the return investors received, compared to the time-weighted rate of return. That is what the fund posted as its performance.
Got it.
And you would expect some small discrepancies in there because people are adding money to an increasing market, 401k contributions, or adding that money in, also taking money out for distributions. So you'd expect a small discrepancy in there. But what they found was that, investors tended to significantly underperform the fund stated return. And what that indicates is that, investors make that emotional decision. They're in there and they, if they're chasing or in the kind of euphoric markets, and then also selling out at the wrong times. So you can see the graphic there on some of the different asset classes. You can see the large discrepancies, and especially during periods of market volatility. It has that the 1 year period in 2020. We had the COVID pandemic. Market was down significantly early in the year, and then responded quickly. Well, investor emotions kind of played into that, and we're out and not back in, and didn't get all that return back.
Tell me, what's the takeaway here? Have a plan, right? I mean, especially don't let your emotions get in the way.
Thanks for watching Retire Vivid. Want to see more? Like and subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with exclusive Vivid content. Plus, be sure to watch our show Retire Vivid every weekend. We're here to help you get retirement ready.